Hi everybody, this is Karen. I'm going to take a second here and just close the door behind me. I just realized I didn't close it, so hang on. Okay, much better. Okay, that way I won't bug my husband, and he's working in the room just across the hall from me over there, so I don't want to bug him too much while I'm chatting with you guys. How is everyone? Hi, Linda. Yay, I'm glad you guys are here. I'm going to wait a couple minutes just to see if anybody else pops in. But for those of you who are doing the crochet along, how are things going? I'd love to hear about it in the chat. There hasn't been a whole lot of chatting in the forums for it. So I wanted to see how people are doing, if they're having any issues with Clue 1. I know there's a couple people who struggled with the increases at the edge of the shawl, but your shawl should look like this roughly. It does want to cup a little right now. Blocking is going to fix that because it's going to stretch everything where it needs to be. But this is the color I started with last week. This is the Araucana Hawasco sock, and this is the blue color. And what I love about this, guys, is those white spots in the middle of the blue. It's just such a tonal colorway. So I'm really excited to get to the next color and see how it goes. But does anybody have any issues or questions for me before we get started with Clue 2? Want to see how things are going. How are things out there, Linda? Are you doing okay? Are you guys affected by the fires at all? I don't know if you guys, last week I had a really bad cold, and I'm feeling much better now, except I still sound like I'm sick because of all the stupid smoke. So I'm not coughing as much as I was last week, but yeah. Yay, you work 2 jobs, clerk, jewelry. Oh, 4 rows. You'll catch up really quick. That's no big deal. I always pad the end of the crochet alongs before I do the drawings anyway, because I want to make sure that everybody has enough time, because I know life gets in the way. And you can't always get the clues completed, you know, as soon as the next clue's dropped. I mean, I focused and I got mine done on Friday. I dropped the clue on Wednesday. No, I got it done on Thursday. Thursday evening, it was completely done. I was hoping to get it done on Wednesday, but things just got in the way. So that's the way it goes. Haven't seen any smoke, but the pollutants, yeah. Fortunately, with my asthma, I'm on some medications. I'm on a maintenance medication that has really helped with the smoke. The smoke is mostly drying my throat out and irritating my sinuses more than anything else. But I'm also on a once-a-month shot that I get. And that shot I've been on it, well, in April, I guess it'll be 3 years I've been on the shot. And that has completely changed my life. I've had maybe 2 in 3 years, 2 really bad bouts with my asthma, but nothing that put me in the hospital or anything like that. So it's like, yeah, my life has changed so much. I still have to be careful, but it's awesome. So I see there's about 6 of you guys out there. So if you're here, just drop in and say hello. I'd like to chat with you. I'm going to go ahead and they'll get started with Clue 2 for the Mystery Crochet Along. Hi Gina, did you get to see my shawl so far with the Araucana? I love this colorway. And Lynn, yay! I'm glad you could pop in for a little bit. I love this colorway. I absolutely love it. Okay, so those of you who have dropped in and are doing the mystery crochet along. Hopefully you were able to download the clue. My website is doing some funky things. I keep getting an error from the forum on my end saying that they can't connect. So if you're having trouble, as soon as I get off this podcast, I am going to call my hosting company and find out what's going on. My front end, they tried to upgrade my shopping cart and it shut everything down with my main website. So if you try to go to KarenHooley.com, you'll see I have a maintenance screen there right now. The forum is not part of the main website, so it should still be active. Oh, good. I'm glad, Gina, that you were able to download. Cool. Okay. And I found a new feature today, which was really awesome, is that I posted the clue, and you should have gotten an email if you're part of the Mystery Crochet Along that the clue was available. So that I posted that new thread. So hopefully, let me know if if you got that email, because I'm kind of curious to see how it works, because I don't get one, unfortunately. Anyway, so I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the clue yet, but literally it's 2 rows and then you repeat the last row for 10 rows. So there's actually only 12 rows in this clue. However, because of how wide the shawl is getting, it's going to take a little bit of time. Yay. Okay. Thanks, Lynn, for letting me know that it worked. So of course the chart here is really short. So, and hopefully it's really easy for you. So, I'm going to go ahead and get started with how to do this clue. What I did here was when I finished row 36 at the end, I cut the yarn so it wouldn't be dragging all over the place. And I put a stitch marker into my loop so I didn't lose my loop, because I'm known to do that. And then, okay, so for those of you who might be new to changing colors, and I know I have a few beginners doing this crochet along, so I just want to show how I change colors at the end of the row. So what I do is I'll take out my last stitch, and then I'll do the last stitch again. So this is the last stitch is another double crochet. So yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over, pull up the 3 loops. So I've got the 3 loops on the hook. I'll do yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops with the original color. And then, let me grab my tail. I'm using purple this time. And then I am going to yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops with the new color. Now, I don't know if you can see that real well. Hopefully it'll focus in. But you'll notice that the purple is coming out of the blue stitch, but the blue stitch is still intact in color. So you don't have like this multicolored stitch at the end. So I'll do that again really fast for those who are new to changing colors. So, and this is true with any stitch, not just the double crochet. It's always the last yarn over and pull through that you use with the new color. So there's the start of my double crochet with the 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, grab the new color, and make sure you're leaving a tail. Remember last week I talked about 4 to 6 inches to leave a tail. And there's pulling through with the purple. And there again, you'll see, it's hard to see here. Here's the stitch, and you'll see the purple's kind of coming through here, but as you work your next few stitches, you'll notice that all tightening up. Now, a lot of people, we talked about this last week a little, a lot of people want to make a knot here to hold things together, and that's fine as long as you don't make it a permanent knot. What I do to help keep the tails out of the way too is I will just make a half of a knot. So I'll just yarn, just make the first part of the knot that's removable. So it's just, so those tails are kind of stuck together. The stitch doesn't fall apart, but I can take it out when I'm leaving in my ends. So there we go. So now we're going to start with row 37, and I'm changing colors again. Like I did with the original pattern. So, and I'm doing this for 2 reasons. One is because I really like these colors together, and I want to make the shawl these colors. But then also, I'm doing it on purpose for these videos too, so that you guys can kind of see the difference between the clues as well. If you're using the one color throughout, or you're not changing colors until clue 3, or whatever you're doing, you're striping it, you don't have to change colors when I do. So here we go. Oh, yay. Okay, Linda, good. You got it. I'll print it out too. Okay, so for row 37, it says to chain 3 and turn. So 1, 2, 3. One thing I should mention too is you'll notice all my patterns start the row with chain whatever and turn, and there's a reason I do that. I always chain first and then turn. And it's not so, you can't really tell in most stitches, but I learned from my Italian grandmother who taught me thread work. And so the reason I always chain and then turn is because when you do your chain and then you turn, it kind of twists the chain a little bit, the turning chain, and it tightens it up. And you don't notice it so much in yarn because there's so much drape in yarn, but if you're doing thread work, it really does tighten up those sides. And so that's why I do what I do. It's just kind of a holdover from when I was younger. I know a lot of designers will turn and then chain. And, you know, it like I said, it doesn't necessarily matter with yarn, but with thread, if you're doing thread work, it really does tighten things up for you because of that twist at the end. Okay, so chain 3, enough about turning chains. Chain 3 and turn, and you're going to double crochet in the first double crochet. So that's your increase because you're not skipping that first double crochet. You're actually working a stitch into it. Then you're going to chain 1, and you're going to double crochet in the next double crochet and in the next chain 1 space. So this should look really familiar from the row below it, that you have the 2 double crochets because the turning chain counts as a double. The 2 turning chains is chain 1 and then 2 doubles. Then it says skip next double crochet. 2 double crochets in the next double crochet. So we're going to skip the first one there after the chain 1 space and then do 2 double crochets in the next one. And then you're going to skip the next double crochet and you're going to do that, and then you're going to repeat from the asterisk, and the asterisk starts at the 2 double crochets in the next stitch. So you're skipping a stitch, but then you're doing 2 in the next. So you're going to do that all the way across. Oh, I like this purple, the way it's working up next to the blue. I really like this. So I'm going to give you a little, there's the first 3. So here's where the first 4 stitches were, where you got the double crochets here, the chain 1, 2 doubles right next to each other. Then you see there's a space there, even though I didn't do a chain 1 because I skipped the stitch, it makes a space. Then there's 2 double crochets right there. Space, 2 double crochets, space, 2 double crochets. So you can do that all the way across to, let's see. There we go. Repeat from the asterisk to the last double crochet before the next chain 1 space. So that's right before the spine of the center of the piece. So this is going to take me a while to get to that end. So does anybody want to chat with me? Does anybody have any questions of what I'm doing so far? Anybody want to tell me what they're working on besides the shawl? Let me get there. I've got my cat in here again, so if you hear collars rattling, you know why. She's around here somewhere. I think she might be hidden behind my filing cabinet, which is next to me over here. She's found this new spot that we didn't know that she had found a way to get back there. And the other night, we heard all this noise. It sounded like someone was pounding on my filing cabinet. And first we thought it was outside. And then the next morning I heard it again and I was sitting in here. And then all of a sudden the cat runs out and I'm like, oh, it's her. She's good. I mean, we took the collar or the the cone off of her like a day or two after her surgery, and she hasn't even licked at the paw. She's going through the stress of moving because she's always been a very high-strung cat as far as being afraid of everybody. And if the doorbell rings, she always hid. But she is, she's on the mend. Little Amber, she did get her collar of shame off, yes. Yeah, it's been off for a while. But it's funny thing is that paw, she has not licked it. She's licked the entire body. I've watched her take a bath and she does not touch that paw. So I'm thinking everything's okay. We've looked at it a few times. It looks good. I mean, it's not like infected or anything. But the really, really great thing is she's eating so much better than she did before. So we're happy so far. We still do have to get her into the vet. So if I can grab her, yeah, she's behind my filing cabinet. So she's hiding. She didn't like being on TV with her collar or on video with her collar, so, or her cone of shame. I guess one of the things I can tell you guys is you guys all know that we moved to a new area in June, and we're in the shutdown phase 1.5 still. Have been since we moved. Well, actually, we moved from 1 to 1.5 at the very beginning of July, and then we stalled. And so that caused because we're building a new house out here, and that caused everything to get pushed off. And it's been really frustrating, but we're really excited now because yesterday, well, actually last weekend, we were able to sign all the paperwork and get the contract started on the new house, selecting, our lot and making sure we had, all the structural stuff set up. And then yesterday we got to go, I loved it. We got to go and pick out all the cabinets and the flooring and all the colors, the part that I like the best. So we're really excited about that. And then in about a week or two, we're going to have a meeting with they call it a pre-build meeting. And we haven't built our own house in 20 years. So the last time we built a house was 20 years, and they never did anything like this. But we actually get to meet with the foreman and walk the lot. He's going to show us where everything is and if we have any extra concrete we want. But then once we go through that meeting, they will be able to break ground on our lot. So we are so excited. It looks like I'll have my new house and my new office in January, February is what they're saying right now. It'll definitely be after Christmas. So we're hoping for January, but that's about it. I'm getting close, guys. So fortunately, this is a stitch that I don't have to count, that I'm in the right spot as much. This stitch here should be one of those stitches that you can sit in front of the TV and watch and just bang out these rows. Okay, what do you guys think of the purple with the blue? Isn't that kind of cool? Do we have any fun plans for LYS Day this weekend? The only thing I am doing this weekend as far as LYS Day, and it just kind of happened to fall the way it did, is that I am teaching my sock class starting this Saturday, which is LYS Day. And the shop owner that I'm doing the class with is doing a couple things for LYS Day that are in conjunction with my class. I do know one of them, I'm pretty sure, is a giveaway. And then she's going to be doing some stuff with yarn, selling yarn and stuff like that. We do have a giveaway with my sock book in it and some other stuff. And then she's going to be announcing a couple other things that I can't announce until she's ready. Hi, Charity. I'm glad you're here. Thank you. Okay, I'm glad that you guys are all liking this color change. I thought the purple next to the blue would be really cool. So, oh, awesome. Okay, so you guys seeing those V-stitches, how they're working? Just kind of gives it a little bit of a different look than the eyelets did from last week. That's kind of what I was going for, Linda, is like an early morning sky where the blue is just starting to peek out and there's still the purples out there and the pinks. So yeah, this is going to be a shawl. I've decided that this one, because I already love it so much, it's usually what I do is when I make a second of one of my samples, I usually either give it to someone or give it to charity or something like that. But this one, I love the colors already so much. I think this might be my office shawl, because I'm always chilly sitting at my desk working, especially when I have to sit and type for a while, and all I'm doing is sitting still, and all of a sudden I get chilly especially in the fall and winter. So this is perfect, and it's going to be pretty sitting on the back of my chair too, I think. So I do like these colors. I can't wait to get the purple going, a little whiter, this way, so I can see all of the tonal colors coming through. Okay, I just have a few more V-stitches here, guys. And it's funny too, because as much as I love color, I usually don't do something like what I'm doing here, because I'm starting with blue and then I'm going to purple and then I'm going to pink. And then I'm not sure what the final color is going to be. It depends on how much yarn I have left of each of the colors to figure out exactly what I'm going to do. So, okay, so I am working, make sure, repeat to the last double crochet. Okay, so I want to make sure I'm going to the last double crochet there. Okay, so I got to the last double crochet. So actually the way it works is, if you look at the way the repeat ends, I do the 2 double crochets first and then I skip the next stitch. So there's really, I don't know if you can see that real well, but there's 2 double crochets here before that chain 1 space. So I'm actually, part of what I'm doing now is skipping that double crochet. So in the last, let's see, before, so you're going to double crochet in that last double crochet. There you go. And in the chain 1 space. And then you're going to do your spine, which is your chain 1, double crochet in that center stitch. And some of you may have it marked. Then you're going to chain 1 again, and then you're going to work in that chain 1 space on the other side and the first double crochet, because you want everything to be the same on both sides of the spine. So here's my last V stitch. I'm trying to see through my shawl to see what I'm showing you here. Okay, so here's my last V stitch right here. Then there's a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, double crochet. So on either side of the spine, I have 2 double crochets and a chain 1. Does that make sense? Can you see that? I can see it, kind of. So then we go back to our V stitch. So we're going to skip the first double crochet after the one we worked, and then 2 double crochets, and then skip 1, and then 2 double crochets. So we're going to come down to the other side. I want to just read this really fast. Chain 1, double crochet, next chain 1 space and double crochet. We skip the next double. So now we're going to do 2 double crochets in the next double crochet, skip next DC, and we're going to repeat to the last chain 1 space. So on this side, instead of looking for the last double, we're going to come all the way down to this chain 1 space here at the end. So we are just going to keep going. Anybody else have any questions for me while I'm doing this side? Hopefully it won't take me very long to get there. It went faster than I thought on the first side. Did anybody have any trouble. I know there was at least one person on the forum that had trouble with the increases at either end of the shawl. And she ended up looking like a bell. I don't know if anybody saw that, but it was like a bell shape instead of or like a big curve, because she increased in the middle, but she wasn't increasing at the ends. So she had this, I don't even know what to call it. So I don't know if anybody had issues with that. The increases, because of the way this pattern works and how I'm increasing at the ends as well as in the center, it does, I think I showed you guys at the beginning, you can see there's some cupping, and that comes out when you block. I made sure of that before I even got very far into the pattern, as I sat there and I blocked a swatch or the piece of the shawl about this big, just to make sure that cupping went away, and it sure did. And then when the final shawl was done, it was perfectly flat. In fact, I just got the photography from the photographer for the final pattern, and it's, oh my gosh, I can't wait to show you the final pattern. And you all get a copy. Those of you who are in part of the Mystery Crochet Along will all get a copy of the pattern, of the final pattern, with all the pretty pictures and everything put together. So just so you guys know. So what else are you guys working on? Anybody got a project going besides the Mystery Crochet Along? Hi, is your name pronounced Fahima? Famina Creation. Ah, welcome. We're glad to have you here. I'm just working on our my mystery crochet along, and we're in the week 2. The shawl right now, I am still struggling with the name. As you guys are working, if you have ideas, send them to me. The original, because of the colors I use, I've kind of been tossing about the name. Actually, Linda, you're gonna like this. I called it Evening Sky because of the color I used. So that's the way I've been doing now with the name, as far as that's concerned. Oh, it's your first time here? Yes, I'm working. This is the Mystery Crochet Along shawl I'm working on, and this blue section was last week's first clue. I'm showing everybody now how to do the second clue. There's actually 4 clues. So we're just working on the little tricky bits of how this shawl works. Linda, I'm working on Pet Blankie with the Catherine wheel's nice for pet blankets, that's for sure. It's more of a scrap can, yes. I have done that in the past too. In fact, I've got a bunch of scraps up there right now that I keep thinking, you know, that would make a really cool blanket for my cats. And since we've moved here, they have like overtaken all of our blankets that are kind of hanging over the couches right now because it's too warm to use them. And I was thinking maybe they need one for themselves. I could call it End of Summer, Lynn. Actually, I just called it the End of Summer Mystery Crochet Along. But if you guys think that's a good name, maybe I'll do that too. Because the colors would work from the original one. It would actually kind of work. There you go. Oh, good. I'm glad you're going to do some crochet tutorial videos. That's awesome. How long have you been crocheting, Fahima? Famina, is that how you say your name? You second the name of the End of Summer? Is that what you're saying, Gina? Okay, maybe I'll call it End of Summer. Cool. Okay. I'll have to think about that then. I know the last time I did it, it was, is it summer yet? So, or is it spring yet? So maybe that's a theme with my shawls now or my mystery crochet. Nearly 10 years. That's great. That's great. I shouldn't say how long I've been crocheting. I've been crocheting for, oh gosh, now I have to do math in my head. I have been crocheting for 47 years. Deborah is working on a scrap sock yarn. Oh, granny square. Cool. Are you making it into a blanket, or are you just making squares for another project? What are you doing with it, Deborah? It is a long time. My grandmother, my Italian grandmother, taught me when I was 7 years old, and I've been an author and a designer of crochet for 22 years, just this past summer. So I've been doing it a long, long time. I never really ever put my hook down, except for maybe a few months here and there during high school when school came first. But in college, I was always even crocheting. I made snowflakes for my dorm room and my whole dorm floor that year. My roommate and I all had matching Christmas stockings in our dorm room. And then all my cousins were always having babies. I'm the second youngest of 7 grandchildren on one side of my family, and everybody was having babies, so I was always crocheting something for them. Making a large oh, that's a great idea. I love those scrap gowns that are the big big granny squares. And actually, I keep saying I'm going to put it up on my blog, but you might be interested in this, Deborah, as I have an old pattern of my own that I released like back in 1999 or 2000 of a, oops, I just made a boo-boo. As I'm talking here, I should just look really fast before I go back. I'm almost at the end here. I did a granny square. It's not a granny square. It's a rectangle granny square that I did purposely for scraps, that it starts as a rectangle and you just keep working as a rectangle. So if anybody's interested in that pattern, let me know, and I might revamp it a little bit and put it on my blog if you're interested. Oh my gosh, Linda, 60 years. Wow, that's awesome. Thank you, Fahima. Famina. You know, I'm gonna have to remember how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, regardless, whichever way. But yes, I'll check out your channel, that's for sure. Yeah. I did this, I made this pattern up. I haven't seen one just like mine in a very long time, because I start with a different center than most rectangular granny squares out there. So, and I had it on my blog for a long time. And then when I moved, oh gosh, probably like in 2006 or 2007, I took it down because I was revamping my website and I never did put it back up. So it's one of those that's been sitting there going, I should just make it a blog post. So I might have to have it charted before I do that. Okay, yeah, I will definitely work on getting that out then. Oh no, you don't want to leave stuff like that. Okay, all right, I'm at the end of the row. Okay, or almost at the end of the row. So remember, the repeat said 2 double crochets in the same stitch and then skip the next double crochet. So that's where I'm at right here. Here's the 2 double crochets. Here's the last double crochet before the chain 1 space. So we're skipping that chain 1, or that last double crochet, and then we're going to single crochet or double crochet in the chain 1 space, double crochet in the next double crochet, chain 1, and then 2 double crochets in the turning chain. So that makes your increase at the end. Actually, yeah, it's kind of a double increase. I don't know if you guys have noticed that with even the clue number 1, the way I increase at the end, you're actually increasing 2 stitches at the end instead of 1. And that's why you get that cupping that will block out. Okay, so we're done with row 37. So there's row 37. I really like that color change. Oh my gosh. And look, you can already see the color with the tonal in the purple where it gets a little more white instead of such a dark, deep purple. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be gorgeous. Okay, so we chain 3 and turn. And then of course, you're gonna double crochet in that first stitch because you're increasing there. And then your chain 1, which is the other increase. So that's just so you guys know, when I say double increase, you're not skipping the first stitch. So you're increasing because your turning chain counts as a stitch, and so you've got 2 in the corner there. And then the chain 1 makes the second increase for this. So then you're going to double crochet in the next double crochet and in the chain 1 space. So the edge is always going to be the same, where you've got the 2 double crochets because of the turning chain, chain 1, and then two double crochets on their own. Thank you, Famina. I really appreciate you being here. So have a good day. Have a good rest of your day. Okay, so we've got 2 and then a chain 1 and then 2. And then it says, skip the next double crochet, 2 double crochets in next double crochet. Oh wait, no, I thought that's what I already did. Okay, so now you're gonna skip 1 double crochet. So I apologize, guys. So you're gonna skip that first double crochet. Then you're gonna do 2 double crochets in the space between, oh wait, hang on. Now I gotta look at my chart because I'm not thinking right. Oh, I got it. That's right. Okay. Okay, so we've done our 4 stitches. You can tell it's been a while, guys, since I've done this. Almost like a windy autumn morning sky. Yeah, it does, actually. It really does. Okay, so we are going to, we have our 2 double, our chain, our double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, then you're going to skip the next double crochet and you're going to do a V stitch in that next one. So 2 double crochets. So we're going to do that. Okay, and then what you're going to do is so we did a V stitch. I'm going to take my hook out here. So I did a V stitch in that last single double crochet there before the V stitches start. Do you see what I did right there? It's kind of hard to see. This color is hard to show on screen, I guess. But right here, there's 2 double crochets here. There's a chain 1, 2 double crochets, and then there's a V stitch in the very last of the 4 of the previous row. And then you're going to work between the 2 double crochets here. So here's the V stitch of the previous row. You're going to put 2 double crochets in there. So double crochet, I'm going to do them and then I'm going to show you. Double crochet, and there you go. So can you see? I'm going to make a bigger loop so I can hold this up and stretch things out a little. Okay, so here's the V stitch I was telling you is in just that single crochet. I mean, it's that single double crochet right here. So here's those 2 doubles, and I did a chain 1, and then I did 2 at the end. So this one right here has 2 double crochets in it. Then here's the first V stitch on the bottom row. And see how I've worked right between the 2? There's no chain space in there. You just go in the space, just open them up and put 2 double crochets, which are right here, in that V stitch. So it kind of gives you a V stitch, but it gives you a tighter V stitch than one that has a chain. So there's not such obvious holes Does that make sense? Because I wanted something that, because I had so much open space here, this next one, I wanted it to be a little tighter. So you're going to do that all the way across. So you're just going to, from now on, you're just going to work in the space between the V stitches, and just put 2 double crochets in there. How it's starting to look. There. So can you see what I've done? I'm going to back it up just a little. Can you see how there's 2 in this? There we go. Now I'm clearing up. Can you see how that works? Does that make sense? And we're going to do that. We're going to repeat that to the last 3 double crochets before the next chain 1 space. So remember, there's no chain 1 spaces all the way along here until you get to the spine. The spine is where we have those chain 1 spaces on either side. So we're just going to keep working in those V's until we have 3 double crochets before that. And that, so there's 2 double crochets right here. And the third one is the second leg of the V right here. So you're going to work a V here, but then you're going to count 1, 2, 3, and those are the 3 stitches that you're going to have at the end. Oh, good. I'm glad, Charity, this is making sense. So hopefully I can get to the end of this side before my hour is up. If I have to go over a little, I'll do that too. But we still have 20 minutes or so. But I really like this yarn. How many of you are using a fingering weight rather than what do you call it? A lace weight. Geez, I need more coffee this morning. Anybody else? Because this is the fingering weight. So I like I mentioned last week, I didn't do a gauge swatch. I did not do a gauge swatch yet. So this is going to be bigger than the original shawl. So that's another reason why it's going to be my office shawl. So I have something that's big and wrapping. Well, with lace weight, I use bigger hooks than most people use with lace weight. So even the size E, it might seem like it's really small, but it's a lot bigger than what I learned with as a child. So being blind, I try to make patterns with lace weight that aren't going to make you go blind. I always try to use a bigger hook. Gina says, I'm using Queen William Unite for it. So, okay, so you're actually one step up from the fingering weight. So you're what I would call baby sport weight as a 2. Because fingering is considered a 1. So yeah. I guess too, I love lace weight yarns only because, I mean, if you would have asked me this about 20 years ago, I would have said, I hate lace weight. I'm never going to use lace weight again. I did too much thread work for my grandmother. I don't want to do this anymore. But now, because of all of the things that are, you know, all the beautiful yarns that are out there, and then what I've learned with lace yarn, what I can do that you can't do with thread. Thread doesn't drape as well as some of these lace weight yarns. Ooh, I did a boo-boo. Okay. I am going to just kind of skip over that, and then I'll rip this out later. I have a spot. I don't know if you guys can see it. Right there where I only put 1 double crochet instead of 2. So I'm going to have to rip this all out after, but that's okay. I don't mind doing that. I ripped out so many projects as a child with my grandmother that frogging does not bother me at all anymore. Okay. You don't want to be blind from crochet. Me either. That's why I don't do a lot of black anymore either. My pattern testers, I think Gina, I think you're one of them who's doing that one blanket that has all the black lace at the end of it. I would never ever do that blanket again in black like I did, because I remember, and I was a lot younger than I am now, and how hard it was to see the black. So yeah, going blind crochet is not something I want to do. Charity, I end up redoing the first clue with a 4mm hook with my lace weight yarn, and that's totally fine too. When I teach my lace classes, because I teach a class called the basics of lace, and it's basically, I mean, you're going to be doing a lace pattern, you're going to be learning about how to read a lace chart and all that kind of thing. But the biggest takeaway I want in that class is for everyone to feel comfortable using lace weight yarn with bigger hooks. Because just because you think you have to use a 1mm hook with all that really tiny yarn, you don't have to. You want the bigger hook to open up the space for you, so that you have a nice filmy a lace. So, and if you would use a bigger hook and it feels comfortable for you, I think that's wonderful. And Lynn, I'm using a lace gradient. Oh, that's right. I remember. I think you said that, or you posted it. Were you the one that posted it in the forum? As long as my hook is brightly cut. Oh, that's true too. Colored hooks will help with black. That is true. That is true. And then I have at the chair that I usually am crocheting with in the living room has an light there. So, okay. Yes. Okay. I remember, Lynn. That's right. That's going to be pretty. I can't wait to see all these finished shawls, because I know what it already looks like. It's killing me not to show you what it already looks like. And so that you can imagine what your shawls are going to be like. All the colors I've been seeing, I'm just like, oh, this is going to look so cool. That's the thing that kills me about these mystery ones. But I'm enjoying it all at the same time. I love watching you guys either like a stitch or get excited about a stitch. And again, I use simple stitches at the beginning. This one kind of builds on the simplicity a little bit, because not a lot of beginners know that you don't have to work in the top of the stitch. You can work between the stitches. So it really, I'm hoping that those of you who are newer crocheters that are watching this, whether now or watching the replay, know that this is a little bit, I mean, this is something that you can do and you can play with, is working in between stitches instead of only at the tops of the stitches. And a lot of people think, oh, you got to have a chain in there, you know? Nope, you don't have to have a chain in there. Okay, we're almost there, guys. Just a few more. I probably won't go down the other side because I'll have so much to rip out to fix that problem that I have. But at least I'll get you through the point, because the other end works exactly the same. The thing about the shawl is just remember that if you start one way, you end the same way. And in this case, you end with 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then 2 double crochets in the last stitch. It's just the reverse of the beginning, but it looks the same. Oh, and I did it again right there. Look, guys, right there. There's another. So I do have more to rip out than I thought. Okay. So that's what happens when I talk and crochet at the same time. So I'm just going to skip over that right now. It's going to make some cupping in the shawl, but that's okay. I'm just going to leave it until I can rip it out and fix it. Okay, so I've got 2 more. Oh, I love this colorway. Okay. All right, so now I am down to the last 3 double crochets. Remember, the first one here is the last leg of the V-stitch in the previous row, and then the 2 double crochets that are right before the turning chain. So when I get to that spot, I'm going to skip the next double crochet, which is right there at the V, the last leg of the V. 2 double crochets in that next double crochet. So I'm going to do them and then I'll show you what I did. Okay, so here's my last V in a V right here. And then I did a V stitch in the first double crochet of the 2 double crochets here before that stitch, before that chain 1 space. So can you guys see that kind of? Okay. Then you're going to double crochet in the next double crochet. So this time you're not going to skip a double crochet. And in the chain 1 space. So what that does is that gives you an extra V here and then 2 double crochets. Now you're going to do your center. Chain 1, double crochet in your center. Chain 1, double crochet in the chain 1 space and in the next double. And then you're going to do a V stitch in the next double crochet. Okay, so I'm going to show you that before we go any farther. So, here we go. So, here was my last V stitch in the V stitch, right here. Last V in the V. Then I skipped the leg of the V and I worked 2 double crochets right here into this first. It's kind of hard to see. So this is the first double crochet that's by itself, and I have a V stitch on the top of it. Can you see that? And then the next double crochet right next to it, I did a double crochet. And then in the chain 1 space right here, I did another double crochet. Then I chain 1, I did a double crochet in the spine, chain 1 again, and then did a double crochet in the first or in the chain 1 space, a single double crochet in the first double crochet, and then 2 double crochets to make a V stitch in the second double crochet. Is that making sense, guys? Can you see that? I mean, I know my fingers get in the way a little bit, but is that making sense? So now you can see here is my next V stitch, because if you look here where these two are, these are 2, it almost looks like a V stitch, but they're 2 separate double crochets. That making sense? Okay, so now you start working your V stitches again in between the 2 double crochets of the previous row's V stitches. So I'm going to do a couple of those really fast. And you're going to do that all the way down to the end of the row. When you get to these last 2 double crochets that are by themselves, let me pull that up here. Let's see if I can get them to focus in on that. Right here, there's double crochet in the chain 1 space and a double here. What you're going to do is you're going to actually put a V stitch in this guy. Let me make sure I'm reading that right. Yeah, so these 2 double crochets at the end that are by themselves, you're going to put a V stitch in this one. You're going to skip this guy. You're going to work a double crochet in the chain 1 space, a double crochet in that first double crochet, and then chain 1 and 2 double crochets in the turning chain. Now the chart is beautiful for this. So if you're having trouble with words, look at the chart. If you are still having trouble, if that's what the forum's for, post all your questions about Clue 2 in the Clue 2 thread. That's now sticky at the top of the forum. So you'll always be able to find Clue 2. I unstickied Clue 1. So if you're still working on Clue 1 and you need help, put anything that's for Clue 1, put it in the Clue 1 thread. And if it's Clue 2, you're going to put it in the Clue 2 thread so that I can keep everything separate. And then that way too, we're not confusing everybody with okay, I'm having trouble with clue 1, but I'm in the clue 2 forum. You know, I want to try to keep confusion as little as possible. So, so remember, when you're done with the second section, the second clue, you have just added 12 rows. That's all you're adding with the second color. But because of the width of the shawl, it's going to take a while because you're increasing, and you're going to use more yarn than you think you are for those 12 rows. It's really kind of funny. When I was doing the original shawl, I kept going, I've got to have more yarn here. I got to make this section wider, but I couldn't. There was no way to do it. I mean, I had enough leftover yarn of color 2 to maybe do not quite 3/4 of a 13th row. So I don't know how it's going to work with this. I'm hoping there'll be a little bit more yarn left on this one because there are so many fewer rows, but we'll see. So I'd really like, now that I'm seeing this worked up, I really like this to be clue 4, but we'll see. Anybody have any questions for me? Well, while we're sitting here, I might just rip this out while I'm waiting to see if anybody's got questions, anything else you guys want to talk about? Oh, there is one thing I need to mention before I go. I promised, I told you about my sock class that I'm teaching starting Saturday. There is still some room in the class. I told the shop owner that I would mention it as much as I could. The registration is going to close tomorrow night. So if you haven't, yes, I'm using, this is all the Huasco. It's the blue, this purple, and then, oops, let me grab the pink. And then this pink. So that's the colors of my shawl with the Huasco. So yeah. But anyway, I told her I would mention it again. The registration for my sock class closes tomorrow night at the end of the day, and since we're Pacific time, it will be later in the evening for those of you who are on the East Coast or in a different time zone. You don't have to live locally to take the class. It's all on Zoom. Oh, you did? Oh, Gina, yay, I'm glad. As soon as the sock class registration closes, I want to say on Friday. I haven't checked with Lindsay for the exact time, but she is going to email all of the class people the handout. So you'll have the handout ready to go on Saturday morning. Oh, Gina, I'm so glad you're going to be in the class. So just a little pitch. You don't have to take it now, but I did tell Lindsay that I would mention it again. But other than that, let me know what you guys are. If you have any questions for me on this, if you want to talk about something else, I mean, I've got a little bit of time. I can hang for a little bit longer. I'm just checking to see that I don't have any more just single stitches here. Oh, I did them all on that one side. Okay, so we're good to go. So just for those of you too, here's my socks. This is a sample of the socks. So I think we're going to have fun in that class. So yay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else you guys need to know. I've pretty much finished all of my design work for 2020 that I'm going to release this year. So I'm very excited about that. I've got a lot of projects that are coming in 2021. I have a bunch of patterns being tested right now. I just finished another pattern that'll be out in January. I will be releasing 1, 2, 3 patterns before the end of the year. So there, you will see new stuff from me coming out before the end of the year. But everything that you're going to start seeing other than this mystery crochet-a-long, because that makes it 4 patterns. They'll be released before the end of the year. Will be all for next year. So I'm I know a couple people saw me post the end of a project yesterday, and they're asking me when is if the pattern's available, and I keep telling them, nope, it's not happening until January. So anything new is not going to be coming out till January or later that you see that I'm working on currently. So you're going to start seeing me probably in the next week. I'm going to be posting a lot about swatching. If you watched a couple weeks ago, I did an unboxing of yarns that I got from Knitting Fever, and I'm going to be starting to swatch with those to see if the ideas that are churning in my head are going to work with these yarns, and then they do, then you might start seeing the projects being worked on social media, and maybe even here I'll go live and show you a couple things. But that's what's coming up. And then just so you guys know too, I do this every year, but I don't know how many of you have been with me for the last few years. From November 1st until right after New Year's, I usually I don't teach classes. I don't, I do just some design work and stuff like that, but that is literally the time because it's the holidays and my family is around. I do less work. Let's put it that way. I do more planning and less work. So you may not see me. I mean, I'll still do these lives, that's for sure. But you may not see me on social media. Oh gosh, I hate the smoke. You'll see me on social media a little less, I think. Maybe a little bit on my blog, but less on social media. So just FYI. So, okay, guys, it's a little after 10, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off unless anybody else has any questions for me. If you're doing the mystery crochet along, be sure to post in the forums and show me what you're working on. If you're struggling with anything, let me know in there as well. Otherwise, I will see you guys next week. Have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. And those of you who are taking my sock class, I'll see you on Saturday. Bye, you guys. Thanks, Charity, for being here. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Lynn and Linda and Gina and everybody who's here. I appreciate you guys. See you next week.